key part of fretboard fluency is being confident with moving a note from one string to another, either by keeping it at the exact same pitch or moving it to a higher or lower octave. In this guitar lesson, I will show you exactly how to move a note to an adjacent string and the essential octave shapes that you really must know. Everything that I'm about to show you here forms part of my Fretboard Mastery ebook, and you can get your copy for free via my online store with the link in the video description or in the cards. So let's zoom in and break it down. Just to clarify before we launch in, when I identify strings positions, I do so physically, i.e. a lower string means physically lower towards the floor and a higher string is up towards the ceiling. Our first idea here is moving a particular note to the exact same note on a higher or lower string, known technically as a unison. Our starting point is 5th fret or relative tuning, in which you tune the strings relative to one another. To do so, we source the tuning reference note on the string above at the 5th fret. So the 5th fret of string 6 will tune the open string 5, 5th fret of 5 to tune 4, 5th fret of 4 to tune 3, and then we have the exception between strings 3 and 2. The reference note is found at the 4th fret of string 3, so B and B, but between strings 2 and 1, it's again at the 5th fret. Therefore, when moving a note to a higher string, you will go up 5 frets for the same pitch. Up on one string is towards the guitar body. And when moving to a lower string, you're going to move down 5 frets, so down towards the headstock. Let's demonstrate that. This A note in fret 2 of string 3, if I want that on string 4, I go immediately up and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's that A note on string 4 at the 7th fret. Back to that starting note, go down, back 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Try that with some other notes and different string pairs. This will work then except between strings 3 and 2, for which the move is 4 frets. So if I take this D note in the 3rd fret of string 2, if I want that on string 3, I'm going to go up and 1, 2, 3, 4. D. Want that back on the string below, drop it down, back 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you see, this is why the fretboard can be a confusing thing to master, because the same notes can be found in various different strings and fret numbers, which could be a real headache when trying to pick out guitar parts by ear. This high E, for example, the open string 1, I can find that note on fret 5 of string 2, which then can be found fret 9 of string 3, 4 frets higher, which will then be 5 frets higher in fret 14 on string 4, which will then be fret 19 on string 5, which would then be fret 24 if I had it on string 6. Let's move on now to the octaves. An octave is 12 frets horizontally on one string. The double dot inlay at fret 12 representing the octave of the open string. So the open string E, we have a higher sounding E at the 12th fret, 1 octave above. E, A, D, G, B, E. Taking that E octave note then, that same note we now know can be found 5 frets lower on string 5 in the 7th fret, or 5 frets lower in the 2nd fret of string 4. This is the first key octave shape when we skip over string 5. Any note on string 6 can be found an octave higher on string 4 when you go up 2 frets. So taking this A note in the 5th fret of string 6, the octave of that will be fret 7 of string 4. I call this the E-shape octave because it can be found in the open E chord and then the movable bar chord form that goes with that. For more on the cage system and my complete guide to fretboard fluency, you really want to check out my latest course release, Guitar Blueprint. More about that with the link down below or in the cards. This E-shape octave can move immediately down one string for a 5-3 octave shape. D in the 5th fret, D in the 7th fret there. Now identify this as the A-shape octave, again because it's found within the open A chord and its movable bar chord form. As you move this octave shape onto strings 4 and 2, you must raise the note on string 2 1 fret to accommodate that tuning difference we saw earlier in the video with relative tuning. The 4-2 octave is up 3 frets. So we have a G here and a G here. I identify this as the D-shape octave because it's found within the open D chord and its movable bar chord form. This octave shape stays as it is as we move down another string toward the floor for a 3-1 octave. So any note here on string 3, this is a C, the octave of that can be found 3 frets higher on string number 1. This 3-1 octave I consider part of the G shape as it's found within the open G chord and in turn the movable bar chord. If we return to that A major bar chord in the E shape, there is another octave, this time orientated towards the headstock. That first set, when we skipped over one string, was in a diagonal plane towards the body, but there are octave shapes which move in this direction towards the headstock. A 4-1 octave. This is when we're skipping over 2 strings. So this is a 2-string skip octave shape. Any note on string 4 is 2 frets lower on string number 1. You can think of that as from the 4-2, we've taken this note and lowered it 5 frets. The 4-1 octave, again found within the E shape. Just as we move those octave shapes down towards the floor, we can move this up towards the ceiling. Nothing will change for a 5-2 or 2-5 octave shape. I identify this as the C-shape octave because it's found within the open C major chord and in turn its movable bar chord form. So the 5-2 or C-shape octave, anything on string 5 is 2 frets lower on string number 2. And we can once again move that onto string 6 and 3, but this time you need to lower the note moving onto string number 3 to accommodate that tuning difference for a 6-3 octave, which will be 3 frets lower. So any note on string 6, the octave of that is 3 frets lower on string number 3, part of the G shape. So those are the octaves, the 6-4, 5-3, 4-2, and 3-1, what I call the E shape, A shape, D shape, and G shape. And we had the 4-1 octave within the E shape, the 5-2 is in the C shape, and then the 6-3 is again within the G shape. A huge thank you to my Patreon group members for your continued support. If you'd like to get exclusive bonuses each month and help support the channel, you can do so as a member of my Patreon group via the link down below. Otherwise, you can help support the channel with a thumbs up if you enjoyed the lesson, and don't forget to subscribe if it's your first time here, remembering as you do so to ring that bell icon not to miss any future videos. Thank you very much, you practice well, and I'll see you next time.